Hello guys, my name is Vikram and I applied to schools in the 2024-2025 application cycle. Due to some circumstances, I was an international student seeking aid, and so I just want to make this video to share my experiences with the whole process and also share my results, and finally give you my stats and extracurriculars that got me into schools like AMHERST College, Georgia Tech, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and so much more. And before we get into the video, if you're a junior or sophomore and you click the link to this video, be sure to hit that like button and smash the subscribe button, because I'm going to start uploading a lot more content geared towards the college maxing, if you will, person, like everything to do with college applications, because I have learned so much from this process and I want to share my insights into this convoluted process and make it less convoluted for people like you. And that will include future content like me reading my Common App essay, me reading supplemental essays, reading the letters of continued interest that got me into Georgia Tech and University of Michigan after being deferred, and so much more. It's going to be great. Let's get into the video. Okay, first off, let's talk about my stats. I went to a high school with a dual enrollment program, and so the result was I took a lot of classes, a lot more than necessary, if you will. Well, anyways, here is my schedule for freshman year. For high school, I took AVID 1, AP Human Geography, Biology Honors, Chemistry Honors, English 1 Honors, Algebra 2 Honors, Writing, Semantics Honors, and then for dual enrollment, I took Vocabulary, Philosophy, and Orientation. I received A's on all of this. In my sophomore year, I took AVID 2, AP Calculus AB, English 2 Honors, AP World History, AP Environmental Science, all of these for high school, and then for dual enrollment, I took Astronomy, great class by the way, Elementary Spanish 1 and 2, Biological Foundations, Intro to Logic, and Trigonometry. I also self-studied for the AP Statistics exam, which I highly recommend. Math majors definitely take statistics. It's a crazy good class. In my junior year, I took AP Computer Science Principles, ACE English Language, ACE Marine Science, AP Calculus BC, AVID 3 Honors, and AP Microeconomics. And then for dual enrollment, I took Intro to Psychology, Computer Informatics, American History, Probability and Statistics. I also self-studied for the AP Physics C Mechanics exam and the AP Psychology exams. I received A's on all of the courses. In my senior year, I took Physics C, ACE Thinking Skills, AVID 4, ACE Global Perspectives, AP Biology, and AP Macroeconomics. And then for dual enrollment, I took Freshman Composition 1 and 2, Differential Equations, and Multivariable Calculus for dual enrollment. I also self-studied for the AP Chemistry exam. For those of you who are fellow math nerds like I am, for differential equations, I still do not understand the Dirac delta function, and if any of you can explain why the Dirac delta function should not be blasted into the shadow realm, I would really appreciate it. Like, what even is this function? Anyway, so I ended with a 4.0 high school unweighted GPA and a 4.78 weighted GPA. And I definitely took a lot more classes in high school than I should have. And looking back, if I could have done it again, I probably would have cut like a fourth or a third of my schedule and probably used the time doing something more productive, like summer research programs or actual like research. And so if you're like a sophomore or a freshman watching this, I highly recommend that you do not like overdose on classes, because at the end of the day, like, as long as you're taking good rigorous classes every year, like, you don't have to overdo yourself, like, I think the upside or the ROI on taking those extra like difficult classes is not really as high as the time you could have spent doing extracurriculars or research or any of those things. Moving on to everyone's favorite thing, testing. Let's first talk about AP exams. So there are 5 AP classes that I took within my high school, which included Human Geography, Environmental Science, World History, Calculus AB and BC, and Computer Science Principles. I'm pretty sure that's 6. Yeah, those are 6 classes that I took in high school. Sorry about that. And then there are some AP classes that I took through the online system offered in my state, which I took micro, macro, and biology. And I also self-studied psychology, statistics, physics, mechanics, and chemistry. I received 5s on all of the tests that I've already taken. Okay, and here's my perspective on self-studying for AP exams. The thing is, my school didn't really offer the big STEM AP exams. They only offered like computer science principles. They did offer Calc A, B, and BC, and my teacher is the GOAT. But they didn't offer, like, say, biology or chemistry, or psychology, or any of the other ones I wanted to take. So I self-studied them throughout my high school career, and I only did that because I feel like one of my strengths is like learning by myself and like being able to retain information, and so I chose to self-study those courses and get the exam scores. And I don't really think that, I mean, beyond like 7 or 8 APs, like, again, the ROI, the law of diminishing marginal returns, for those of you in macro, like, I don't think the ROI of taking those extra AP exams is really going to do much to your application. Like I said, like, quality over quantity. Make sure that if you're a STEM major, you're taking those big AP exams if you can. And I just did it because I'm basically, I'm a nerd, and like, you know, I like, I'm a masochist, I guess, but it was fun. I really learned a lot from all of these courses. And pro tip, if you're doing Physics C, do Physics C, E and M too. I just didn't have the time this year, but that's just a wonderful course. Like, if you're gonna do it, you might as well do the electricity and magnetism part. And yeah. For the ACT, I took it one time in my freshman year, and I got a 33 on the math section, 35 on the reading section, 36 on the science, and 35 on grammar, and so I got a 35 composite. But I also took the SAT 2 times in my junior year, in November and December, and I got a 1560 both times, but super scored. I got a 780 on reading and writing and 800 on math, so 1580 super score. And here is my tip about when to take these tests. In my opinion, it's best to get them out of the way as quickly as possible. Now, I don't recommend taking them freshman year. I only took it because I wanted to see whether, like, where I was at, because I didn't know whether these tests would be more difficult than I thought they would be. However, I would recommend you to take the SAT or ACT at least once before the time you're required to take it in junior year, in the March of junior year. So I would recommend taking it one time in the summer after your sophomore year, and then, or even like one time in your junior year before March. And the reason I say this is because the SAT and ACT, the topics on those tests are usually, like, all of the topics are covered in courses in high school. Nothing on that test is new. And so all it takes to do well on these tests is to know how to beat the test, like know the format in and out, know all the tips, all the guessing tips, all the strategy, and knowing how to game the test is basically the test. So now, before we continue, like, I just wanted to rant on about the SAT. I was fortunate enough to have taken the last 2 paper SATs in October and November of 2023, and after that, as you all know, it went digital, and I hate the digital SAT. I did not take it, but I've heard, like, bad things about the SAT. I've tutored people for the digital SAT. The curve on the digital SAT is more brutal than the curve on AP Computer Science Principles. Those of you who know the curve on AP Computer Science Principles, you know what I'm talking about. You need a 90% on that test to get a 5, right? That's the highest on any test in the history of AP. The digital SAT, if you get a single question wrong, you can lose up to 30 points in your composite score. How does that make sense? How does College Board make a test where a single silly mistake costs you 30 points, like 1570 versus 1600? What kind of test is that? Not to mention, it went online, but now it takes 3 weeks to know your score rather than 2 weeks before. And then they don't even release the questions anymore. Like, they used to release the questions in the paper SAT. You can see, like, what you did wrong and then, like, you know, get a better score the next time. Now they just give you those bars and they're like, you know, like, oh, you know, like, oh, you did great on this skill, but, like, you could have missed, like, 2 questions on the skill and the bar would still be maxed out, so you don't even know which, like, category to work on. So yeah, this SAT is just, it's another scheme by College Board, probably. I don't know how much money they've made off of it, but, like, they've really, yeah, man, like, take the ACT. That's my advice, like. Alright, let's talk about extracurriculars now. So in my number 1 spot, I put chess, because I've been playing chess for, like, over 13 years now, and I have a lot of awards. Most notably, I'm a national master, which means I have reached 2200 ELO, and that gives me a lot of state rankings and national rankings. And so I put this on my Common App, and just for, like, reference, in my experience at least, I think the national master title in chess is about equivalent to ISEF regional, like ISEF International Science Engineering Fair regional awards, while if you get the higher chess titles like IM or GM, The IM title is probably corresponding to MOP, making MOP or USAMO, and GM is basically on the same level of IMO Gold or IMO Silver. And so I think that's just my take on parallel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. In my number 2 spot, I put the mathematical research that I was working on at the time. So I started my own project in functional analysis in the summer of after my junior year, and so I started documenting stuff and creating a manuscript. And then I reached out to a grad student from a T20, and so we started collaborating on the project. And now at the time of applying to college, I had not published my paper, but I was working to publish, and so I showed that on my application. I also sent all the colleges that accepted the paper, I sent them the manuscript. And for those of you math nerds, it was just about a new way of quantifying growth within functions. And so yeah. In my 3rd spot, I chose to write about my experience with Indian classical music. So the thing is, I've been playing classical piano for the past 10 years, and the past 7 years under a well-renowned instructor from India. And so we have done so much. I've learned so much within Indian classical. I've done certifications, and I've also started to make my own music, and also start experimenting with fusion within Western and Indian classical. And I really use that topic in a lot of my essays, so be sure to check out my essays in future videos. As of uploading this, I think I'm working on my essay video after this one. And then, so yeah, I just wrote about the commitment that I had to music. Alright, in my 4th spot, I talked about the project that I took on in my senior year, where I coded a app for my high school. So basically this app was to help students track their own credits and navigate their graduation requirements. And so I coded this app, and then I gave it to my school. And then the 2nd semester of my senior year, currently, where we've been working on creating a new school website where we integrate the app with other resources like scholarships and putting all the information in one place. And that I also included with the app because they go hand in hand. In my 5th place, I put Mu Alpha Theta, of which I was treasurer in my junior year and vice president in my senior year. We did a lot of competitions mostly, and in my sophomore year we also did tutoring, and so I put that there. And the sad thing is that this year, after submitting my applications, we locked in for competitions, and so we went to states, and we had I got some nice awards for integration, and we also did great as a team. And sadly, I couldn't really put those because those happened after I submitted my application. So if I had a time machine, I would probably go back and put the things I got. But if I also had a time machine, I probably would look at the stock market and pick the stock that went up. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Alright, for the next spot, I put my standardized testing bootcamp that I held for my peers and my students in my sophomore and junior years. And these, it sounds really official, if you read my description. It was really just basically a Khan Academy bootcamp. I just changed the order of stuff and did statistical stuff, and I put the results that I got, and it just shows that I am committed to helping people bridge the the standardized testing bridge and help them do better. Although I think I could have put this a bit lower in my extracurriculars list and probably brought my sports higher, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, the next spot is really monotone. It's just science bowl, similar to Mu Alpha Theta, but not really any tutoring. We just did a competition, and yeah, that's basically, I'm not gonna yap for this one. Yeah, so in my 8th spot, I put all the volunteering that I've done over the past 4 years at a local outreach center, and I basically just clubbed all the hours that I did there, and also the interesting birdhouse project that I was a part of in my junior year at the place, and it was really a fun experience. Okay, and in my 9th spot, I finally put the sport. So I played tennis in my freshman and sophomore years, and I had a lot of success in my freshman year, and in sophomore year it kind of got disbanded because we didn't really have a coach. But other than that, I should have put this higher definitely, because we had some good district awards in my freshman year, and it was really a fun experience. I stopped playing sports because I wanted to lock in for academics, but looking back, I mean, I could have probably continued it. I didn't really lose out on anything, but I was probably also just lazy because, yeah. And so if you're doing a sport and you're juggling academics, props to you. That really shows your commitment to both fitness and academic excellence. And if you're a recruited athlete, even more props to you. Playing sports at that level is really commendable, and I have some tips on how to leverage that to maximize your chances of acceptance at your dream school. So do check out those videos once they show up, because this is the first video that I'm making. And in the final spot, which I doubt even many AOs would even scroll down to, I put investment. Yes, so I've been practicing investment and I've been doing investment, and so I've learned a lot. I've also self-studied some stuff about economics and investments and stocks and bonds and all of that, and so I just wanted to put that there. I could have also put the fact that I was learning Chinese at HSK 3, which probably would have been a bit more significant, but I just wanted to put investment because I'm interested in that field, and I thought it would show a different side of me. And so yeah, so as my final thoughts, I just wanted to give you my insights on what I did right, what I could have done better, and then also talk to my fellow international students. So first, let's talk about what I did right. I did a lot of things throughout high school, both co-curriculars and extracurriculars. Mainly, I took a lot of classes, a lot of advanced classes, a lot of difficult classes. And was there a need to do all of those classes? Absolutely not. Do I regret doing those classes? Not entirely, but I think it's really important to do what you love. And I know that sounds cliche and like very cringe, but that's honestly the truth, and I think that's a secret of life in general. I think I have the policy of foot in the door, so I think your stats, your academic stats, are the foot in the door that gets you considered at these top universities, and the actual pitch that you're going to give them for why they should admit you comes from your letters of recommendation, your extracurriculars, your essays, and so all of those portions of your application are important. I would not say they're equally important because they are fundamentally different things. Your stats get you considered, but the other stuff gets you admitted, and so you can't really compare them. Now, here is my message to fellow international students. If you are an international student and you're full pay, which means you can afford the full cost of tuition and room and board and everything, you will not have a difficult time at applying and getting into whatever colleges you're qualified for. In fact, I think international students who are full pay are basically treated as domestic students, since the college doesn't have to invest any amount into accepting them. However, if you're an international student like me and you require any amount of aid ranging from a few $1,000s to a full ride, you are in for a harsh reality that, I mean, just to not sugarcoat it like I've seen other people do, don't have any expectations at the top schools. If you're an international student and you're seeking aid, definitely apply to safeties within your home countries and also within the US. What I mean by safeties in the US are public state schools that offer merit scholarships. These are the schools that international students should be considering a lot, especially if they need a substantial amount of money. These schools, which include like Arizona State University, FSU, University of Missouri, University of Mississippi, all of those schools are international student friendly. They will often give you full merit scholarships, and to pay for the rest of the costs, you can either look for external scholarships or take out loans in your home country if you have strong currencies relative to other currencies. But if your currency is not strong, I don't suggest taking out loans because that might come to bite if because the loans you're paying off are in USD and your home country's currency might not be strong enough, and that could lead you into a debt trap. However, here's the thing, right? Liberal arts colleges are another great option for international students. Not necessarily the top liberal arts colleges, the most selective ones. There are loads of liberal arts colleges out there. To name a few, I could say Vassar, Grinnell, I can't really name some right now, but Lehigh, etc. These schools are international friendly, and while they are need aware, by the way, need blind, need aware, quick. Need blind means they do not factor your ability to pay in your admissions decision, and as of 2025, there are 10 need blind schools for international students, which include MIT, Dartmouth, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, not UPenn, that's only for Canadians, AMHERST, Bowdoin, so AMHERST, Bowdoin, Pomona for international students within the US. And so yeah, you can always research that list, but definitely if you're seeking aid, apply to schools on that list. And also don't stray away from colleges just because they're need aware, because if you're qualified, you can often get in, and if you get into those schools, if they are committed to meeting your need, they will meet the full need that you have, whether it's a full ride or you just need a few like $1,000. So that is my spiel about this, and I will be making a lot of videos targeted at international students seeking aid because we face a very special set of circumstances and we need to play our cards the best that we can to come from this process unscathed. And that is my spiel about that. And on that note, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.